Let's take a moment, look at the disclaimer. This content is for educational, information, entertainment purposes only, and nothing should be taken as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any security at any time. We're here just to spread the word of how BTA analyzes the market, how we look at the market. This is Rod from BTA, and we are known as the Middle Traders. Okay, this is going to be our end-of-day update for the major market index ETFs. We're going to look at the weekly charts right now. We're going to look at the weekly charts. This should not take long. It's not much going on right now. We at a moment where we have to wait and see. Okay, we have to wait and see. So here's the DIA on the weekly chart. And the interesting thing about the DIA today with our moving averages, notice we opened right on the 150-week moving average right here. Traded down below it, okay, today. And because remember, this is a weekly chart. So this is just today's action right now. This is just today's action. We traded down below it and the rally. We got back above it and we closed above this downward trending 4-week moving average right here. We got back above it. The main thing right now is that we got to see if we could get above this downward trending 8-week moving average. Okay, that's the key. Can we get above the downward trending 8-week moving average? It's at 315.31. We closed at 309.71. Okay, the good thing here on this chart for sure is that we got back above this 150-week moving average. So the DIA did recover that. It did get back above this 150-week. That's a long-term weekly support level. It held. It got back above it. No, can't question that. So hopefully, let's see if it can hold. Let's see if it can hold. Let's look at the structural chart, okay, because we held support at key levels. All right, that 306.28, it held, right? Let's look at, let me zoom in a little bit, bring it down, expand this a little bit. Okay, as you can see, we held that 306.28 level right here was support right here, the 306.28, and the 304, the horizontal support level right below it, 304.66. It opened right on the 306.28 level, traded down, and rallied right back above these two support levels right here on the weekly chart. That's key. Can we hold that? All right, that's the question. Can we hold that? Can we hold above these two support levels? That's what we're going to be looking at for the DIA. It's 306.28 and 304.66. We closed at 309.71. Can we hold it? Now the next area of interest is going to be this uptrending trend line going all the way back from the March 2020 lows. You get this upward trending trend line right here. That's the next area of interest for the DIA. Can we get above that? Okay. So we got to watch that internal trend line going all the way back from the March 2020 lows. We got above the 304 and the 306 level. We closed at 309, but now we're coming upon that upward trending trend line coming back from the March 2020 lows. Can we get above it? Okay, so now let's look at the SPY real fast. So the SPY did something very similar. It opened up on the 150-week moving average, traded below it. We opened up right on the 150-week moving average. This line right here, this moving average line right here, the purplish looking line. We opened up right at the 150-week moving average, traded below it and bounced. And we closed above this downward trending 4-week moving average. All right, we closed at 381.96. We got the downward trending 8-week moving average, this green moving average line at 390.55. Can we get above that downward trending 8-week moving average? That's the question. So right now we're in between the 150-week. We got back above it, and now we got back above the 4-week, but now we're testing the 8-week moving average. Can we get above that over the next couple of days is the question. All right. Now let's look at the structural chart for the SPY. We got back. We bounced off a key support. There's no doubt about that. We talked about the 380 level for the SPY. We talked about the 380 level for the SPY. We got below it. We opened up below it today. For this is the first trading day of the week. You know, this is the first week. We're on the weekly chart of the SPY right now, right? So we opened up right just below the 380 level. We traded down to the 371. This horizontal support level right here. It bounced exactly off of 371.88, almost to the penny. Okay, how many times y'all hit me say almost to the penny? We bounced off of 371.88 almost to the penny right here, and it rallied up and it closed just above the 380.54 level, this horizontal support level right here, which is now is acting as resistance. We got back above it. We closed at 381.96. This horizontal resistance area here is 380.54. Can it hold as support? So the 380.54 level is what we got to look out for on the SPY. Okay, the 380.54. And we got to watch the downward trending 8-week moving average on the SPY, and the downward trending 8-week moving average is overhead on the DIA. Let's look at the QQQs ETF that tracks the NASDAQ, specifically the NASDAQ 100. Well, we still below the 150-week moving average, but we did get above this downward trending 4-week. Look at that downward trending 8-week moving average right overhead at 291.40. Okay, and then we got this here 150-week moving average is right overhead at 294.03. Look, I'm still telling you that's a lot of overhead resistance to get above on the Qs. Yes, I did take a nibble when it broke below 280. It rallied back above it. I let it go quick because there's a lot of volatility in the market, right? But I'm still saying that we got a lot of overhead resistance here above for the Qs. We got the downward trending 8-week moving average, which is the green line. We got this downward trending 13-week moving average is pretty far up ahead. But that 150-week moving average is right there at 294.03. The Qs got a lot of overhead resistance. Let's see what happened. Got to prove it to me, okay? It got to prove it to me. It has to prove it to me. So now, here is the structural chart for the Qs. And right now, we got above that 280.21 level. You see it. We opened up below it. I took a nibble at it. It traded down. It rallied back up. I had to get out of it because it got back above the 280. I told you, 280, if it breaks below 280, start trading below 280, I'll take a nibble at it. But right now, we got this overhead internal trend line right here. That's the next area of interest. We got two overhead internal trend lines. Can we get above those two overhead internal trend lines is the question. Right here going across the March 2020 lows. And then we got another internal trend line. We got the outside internal trend line going across the March 2020 lows across to this most recent fractal. And then we got this internal trend line here coming from the March 2020 lows. So now that's the next area of interest. These two internal trend lines for the Qs on the weekly chart. Okay, let's look at the IWM real quick. Okay, well, we could stay on the structural chart right now, and then we could go down to the moving averages, right? Look at the IWM. We got below, we opened up below, and we traded below this big, thick red line right here. See that big, thick red line? Okay, March 2020 highs. We opened up below it, traded below it, but we rallied right back above it, and we got above the 170.56 level. The March 2020 highs is at 169.14. We got back above that, and we got above the 170.56 level. Look where we testing now. This trend line here coming all the way back from the March 2020 lows. You see that's what we testing now, and then we got this overhead trend line, this downward trending trend line right here. So let's see what happened on the IWM. It's coming up now. It broke above. Put it like this: it held support at the March 2020 highs. That was key. That's big. All right. So can't take that away from the IWM. It definitely held support. But I don't know how far it can go. Yeah, it got below a straight up downward pointing 4-week moving average. But right above head, we got the 200-week moving average here. We got a downward trending green line, which is the 8-week moving average that's right on the 200-week at 176.73. So basically, for the IWM, look, if it can't get above 176.73, that's a 200-week moving average and a downward trending 8-week moving average. It's a lot going on right there. We closed at 172.83, 176.73 is this 200-week moving average, and this downward trending green line, which is the 8-week moving average. That's where we at. And then we got this 13-week moving average right overhead at 180. A lot of overhead resistance for the IWM. I'm trying to tell you something. Be careful. Same thing for the Qs. A lot of overhead resistance for the Qs. You see it. 4-week, We got above it, but we got the 8-week, we got the 150-week, 13-week right there for the Qs. A lot of overhead resistance for the Qs, okay? The SPY, it got above it held support at the 150-week, but we got that downward trending 8-week right overhead. And same thing for the DIA, downward trending 8-week moving average on the weekly charts. You see it, a lot of overhead resistance, okay? We on a lot of overhead resistance. I would say be careful. You see the ITOT? We were sitting right on the 150-week moving average. That's where we closed at today. Look right above it, that green line, the 8-week moving average at 86.78. The downward trending 21-day moving average at 89. We closed at 84.89. You got the 150-week moving average right at 84.89. And then at 86.78, the downward trending 8-week moving average. Be careful. Be careful. You see the volume on the weekly chart is not really telling us anything different. It's still pointing straight down. You see our volume analysis lines? They're pointing straight down. Look at the DIA. Let's look at the DIA real quick. See that volume analysis on the weekly chart? You see the line, the on-balance volume line? See the accumulation distribution line straight down for the DIA on the weekly charts? Listen, be careful, y'all. It's nothing really changed today but the price. Nothing really changed but the price today. We are still have a lot of overhead resistance. Price did make a good push today. Let's see what happens when you get above the get to the 21-day moving average. See you in the next video.